I'd like to welcome each and every individual to the Voices of Integrity podcast for the, well, part of it's the powerful video library phase two. Hopefully, you've already been through phase one. But in phase two, we're going through a number of different, and so today we're on the video number 8. It's the parable of the Chinese farmer. This is also interconnected into the white male over 50. And so whenever you get into the white male over 50, it's always a little dicey. So there could be some language. Typically it's not for kids. But I don't know. We'll have to see how it goes. But let's watch the parable of the Chinese farmer. It's only a couple minutes. This gives us context on the discussion today. So here we go.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. So it's no secret that the last couple of years have been challenging for the world in a variety of ways. It almost seems like difficult times can last forever and even consume us, particularly when we identify them as terrible and inescapable. I felt this way initially too, but then I came across an ancient Taoist story called Zai Wang Shima, which is said to have been popularized by English writer and philosopher Alan Watts as the parable of the Chinese farmer. It goes like this. A long time ago, a poor Chinese farmer owned a beautiful horse. One day, the horse broke through the gate and ran away. All the neighbors came around and said, "Well, that's too bad." The farmer replied, "Maybe." Shortly after, the horse returned bringing several horses with him, and all the neighbors came around and said, "Well, that's good fortune." To which the farmer said, "Maybe." The next day, the farmer's son was trying to tame the new horse and fell, breaking his leg, and all the neighbors came around and said, "Well, that's too bad." And the farmer replied, "Maybe." Shortly after, the emperor declared war on a neighboring country and ordered all young men to join the fight. Countless soldiers died on the battlefield, but the farmer's son was unable to fight and was spared due to his injury. Once again, all the neighbors came around and said, "Well, that's good fortune." To which the farmer replied, "Maybe." In his retelling of the story, Alan Watts explained that the whole process of nature is an integrated process of immense complexity, and it's really impossible to tell whether anything that happens in it is good or bad, because you never know what will be the consequences of misfortune, or you never know what will be the consequences of good fortune. Many Taoist teachings such as this contain themes of yin and yang, balance and peace, and this story underlies the inherent uncertainty in life and provides a nice reminder that it's often less about the situation that we're in and more about how we respond to it. We tend to label our experiences as bad if we hate it and good if we like it. It's easier for our psyche to accept good and bad rather than, well, maybe. But there is such peace in maybe when you really think about it. There is a peace in not attaching to an outcome. So when things get difficult and challenging, as they often do, know that life is a changing process with no definite end. All we have are the events that take place in the middle, whether they are good, bad, or maybe. You never really know what might await you on the other side. And now, with the beginning of a new year, many of us are hoping for greater fortune to come our way. So just go with the flow. And while you're at it, hit that like button, subscribe with your notifications turned on for more short stories just like this. I'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.
So if you're listening to this podcast and you're thinking, Mark is talking about me, maybe. If you're thinking, well, that's bad, maybe. If you're thinking, well, that's good, maybe. And so if we don't have the context of maybe and the story and perspective, then it's, what do you do with it? So one of the things that I struggle with is I like to understand things at a core basis. And any of you can jump in at any time and interrupt. And so if you wish, questions or whatever. And so I find it fascinating. Like people want to be talked about, but they don't. And I like to understand things at a deep level, not at a surface, but at a very, very deep level. But it seems like people want specifics. But then when you give specifics, specifics are so limiting. But here's a specific. So there's a young man I know, and my perspective of this young man is he doesn't listen to a lot of people, but he did listen to his wife, and he did listen to another woman, and and it seemed like it turned out well for him. So he was going to go with option A in communication, and wife and other woman said, "Don't think that's going to work out so well." And he listened to him, and he responded in a totally different way. And then his response generated a very gentle response, a very supportive, nurturing response. So you would think that this gentleman would say, "Wow, like that worked really, really well. Like I'm going to listen to my wife and, this other woman or women in general. I'm going to listen to them because it worked out really well." But I'm not so convinced that he will listen. That the next time his wife gives him a recommendation or a woman gives him a recommendation, I'm not so confident that he's going to learn from that situation. So I'm thinking naturally, I'm thinking that how come this might be? Like how come this individual might not learn and say, like every time going forward from this point forward, anytime his wife says something, I don't know that that's going to work out so well. At a minimum, he stops and he thinks, I remember that one time that I was going to go with this path. And my wife said, I wouldn't recommend do this. Another woman said, I would not recommend do this. I would recommend going in on this. And he went in that way, and it worked out really, really good for him and everybody else. So I would think that one situation, he would be like, that would stop him going forward forever. And he would always consider, I need to consider listening to my wife. But I'm not so sure that's going to happen. And I don't know why. Anyone have any wisdom or insight for me? Good. I thought it might be something easy. And you all would jump in and say, oh, this is like with Tom Kuntz. It's like, but it's not. Now, and again, I'd love feedback. Like I'm looking, like to me. So there's another situation, and something to be addressed. And I did a podcast with a number of parties. So it seems like that people, they're not self-aware, and eventually their friends and family member kind of wear out, and so they don't go ahead and tell the person, you don't listen, you're stubborn, you're locked, you're this, you're this, you're this. Like they just eventually give up, and eventually the people don't have anybody telling them, not because it's not true, it's because they've worn everybody out, and everybody's like, they're not going to change. So I'm just not going to say anything to anybody. I'm just not going to say anything to them again. So they believe, they don't realize it could be how we act. It could be how we drive. It could be how we work. It could be anything. You must have something. Elaine, thoughts that you have?
Um, uh, does it does the personalities and like male, female, does that play into it?
This is fascinating, right? Because like there's 3 women on that know me, one for over 41 years, one for 3, 4 years, and one for 10 months. Do the 3 of you women think that I listen to women?
Yeah.
Elaine?
Yes.
Nora?
Yeah.
But none of them are saying, I'm pretty sure, that whatever women tell him he's going to do. Like it's not like, I think what they're saying is that he considers everything, but he's not controlled by women. Like he's going to consider what a woman is saying. I don't know that most men do that. I wonder if most men just dismiss women. So male, female,
Women are hard to understand.
they are and they're not. Like my mom, she taught me the secret to understanding women when I was like 9 years old. I've shared that on other podcasts and it's interesting because my 8-year-old granddaughters know this story. It's the sour cream and onion potato chip principle. So my mom, she loves sour cream and onions. Potato chips, I purchased those, gave them to her. She cried. She kneeled down, looked into my eyes and said, "Mark, you're going to make some woman the most amazing husband in the world because you're sensitive to women." I am, like, if you went ahead and ask another question, if you ask all the women in my life, is Mark sensitive to women? I think you'd get a very different answer than what we did in listening to women. I don't know how many women in my life would say that I'm sensitive, but my mom, she thought I was sensitive. She said that I would be very sensitive to women. So what I learned from that, Bricio, is that being attentive to women and what their needs and wants, what they like, what they don't, is very, very important. So in a way, you're super right. There absolutely are complex, but in another way, they're not. I wonder if men are far more complex than women. I don't know. So I think the story could be reversed. I think it could be, a woman. Like I don't think most of the women in my life listen to me very well. Like I don't know that they consider what I have to say. So I would say this situation could be reversed very easily, where I think that human beings, men or women, tend to dismiss anything that we disagree with. Like in that one situation, so, that husband, it's almost like that husband, it seems like he has a pattern, it seems to me, where he remembers all the times he's right and other people are wrong. Where I would think it would be a lot smarter to remember all the times we're wrong and other people are right, because then we'd listen to people more. I mean, in the Top Gun podcast this morning, I said to Kenny Bontrager, I said, I'm my own worst cynic. I'm continually wondering where I'm selfish, continually wondering what my motives are. And he smiled. I didn't know what to smile. I asked him, "What does that smile mean?" And he said, "It's so strange." Or is it? Like, is that what's required to grow? Like, do we somehow get off track? So our feelings reveal far more about us than they do about anybody else. So I want to help this individual. It's like I think this individual's an amiable analytic, amiable. So this individual says they don't want conflict, but then they do things that tend to cause a lot of conflict. They say they don't like drama. I think they think I don't create a bunch of drama. But the first message would have created conflict. It just would have. And yet the wife knew and the other woman knew. They gave him advice, followed advice, and things are in flow. Like he's going to get what he wants a lot more if he goes ahead and he listens to his wife and this other woman. I'm not saying all the time. I'm not saying doing. He's not their child. He's not their son. They're not his mothers, but they have wisdom and insight. So how do you get, and it's not about him. I mean, it's really not. I mean, we're using it as an example, but it's not really about him. It's about human nature. How do you go ahead and get somebody to internalize that they're not that smart? They're not that caring. They're not that righteous. They don't take ownership in things. They're locked a lot more than they think they are. Like, how do you do that? Nora, your thoughts on any of what we've talked about?
Not sure.
Rosanna?
I think what happens is they feel like they're on the right path because it worked out for them, but they think they still have some pride that says, I don't need to check with someone else on how I do things.
Right. And what they're saying, but they don't know they're saying, is I don't need to be considerate of somebody. I want other people to be considerate of me, but I'm not going to be considerate of them. And they would say, that's you twisting my words. No, your words are twisted because your heart is twisted. And so I'm just revealing the twistedness of it. Like, I don't need to communicate. I don't need to let people know. I don't need to do that. No, you don't. But it's considerate. And you want to be considered. When you say, I don't feel respected. Well, do you respect other people? Are you doing things that create respectability? Are you just locked and stubborn and you think you know so much? So, other thoughts or questions?
No, I don't have any other questions.
It's interesting, isn't it, Bricio?
It is interesting. Like you say, I think it can go both ways.
Right.
Yeah, like it's just
Right. It's sorry, go ahead. I think you're cutting out a little bit. So there's a new song here. Sorry, go ahead. So here's a new song here. And so when you look at the depth of this and what it's saying,
warning. You might get offended by this, but ask yourself, is it the words or the truth? I didn't want to say this out loud, didn't want to turn this into sound, 'cause love don't always feel this way. Sometimes it cuts just to make you face. I see you walking down that road, carrying pride like it's your gold, but deep inside there's something wrong. and silence only makes it strong. If I stay quiet, I let you fall. If I speak up, I risk it all. Truth and love, that's what it is. Not every truth feels like a kiss. Sometimes it burns, sometimes it breaks, but love don't lie for comfort's sake. Truth and love, hear me now. I won't fake it, won't back down. If it hurts, then let it be, 'cause truth is love. Honestly, you say I'm harsh, I go too far, but I just call it where you are. Don't twist it back, don't shift the blame, don't hide behind a victim frame. Oh, you build a wall and call it peace, but I just see a slow disease. A mind that won't take ownership gets lost inside its own eclipse. Truth and love, that's what it is. Not every truth feels like a kiss. Sometimes it shakes the ground you stand, so you can see who you are again. Truth and love, don't run away. I'm saying what most won't say. Take what's real and let it grow. That's the only way you'll know. Maybe I could say it nice, wrap it up and soften the advice, but you don't hear it when it's low. So now I gotta let it show. Don't hate on me, don't play that role. Head so stuck, you lost control. Blame the world, yeah, shift that view. Truth hits hard, I'm talking to you. Flip it back like I'm the one. Now I see what you become. Started small, now it's spread. Whole mindset, misled. Find the crowd, same mindset. Call it normal, but it's a trap set. Truth ain't hate, don't confuse. It's the mirror you refuse. You refuse, you refuse, you refuse, you refuse. Truth and love, I'm still here. Through the anger, through the fear, I don't speak just to attack. I speak so you can find your way back. Truth and love, understand, this was never hate or plan. If you hear me, if you grow, then this love is what I show. Take what's true, leave the rest, but don't ignore what hits your chest. Love you. Even now. Even now.
Like, I don't know. It's just, I don't know. Any closing comments, Elaine?
What was that?
Any closing comments?
Nope.
Roseanne, anything you got?
I like the song.
Nice. Ratio, anything you got?
No.
And Nora or anyone else who's joined us, any other thoughts or questions you got? All right. So hopefully this is helpful. Like, who are you going to share it with? Is there somebody you're afraid to share it with? Maybe you ought to share it with that person. If you're the person that somebody's afraid to share it with, like, is that really working out for you? I don't know. Always remember, we can accomplish so much more together than we ever could on our own. Have an amazing day. Bye-bye.